Okay, so here's your first problem, and I want you to look at the 4 ways that we know to compare. So our first option is to look at common numerators. Now, if you have a common numerator, that means the numbers on the top are the same. And remember what we did with the pizzas. This would mean that there's one pizza, and we're sharing it with 7 people. Or there's one pizza, and we're going to share it with 9 people. Now, if you're sitting at the table with 7 people, you're going to get more pizza because there's less people that you have to share with. But since we don't have a common numerator, let's move on to the next way. And you can just ignore what just popped up. It was an accident. So the common denominator is where we're looking at the bottom number to see if it's the same. And if the bottom number is the same, if you're looking at your notes, you can compare the top and see which one's bigger. Now this is different from the first way because now we're seeing which one's bigger. So if I have 4 pieces of pizza and I take 2 of them, or if I have 4 pieces of pizza and I take 3 of them, I'm going to get more pizza if I take 3 slices. So that is the bigger fraction. Now, if you look up at our original problem, we actually do have common denominators. So our denominator is 5, and 4 is the bigger numerator, and so 4/5 is larger. Now, the third way, if that didn't work, the third way that you would check would be comparing to a benchmark. So 1 and 1/2 are the easiest benchmarks. So you're going to look at your fraction and you're going to say, is 3/5 more or less than 1/2? And 3/5 is more than 1/2. So we look at 4/5. It's also more than 1/2. And that doesn't help us out very much for this set of fractions. So we're not going to use that method and we know to move on. The fourth one is the distance from a benchmark. And remember, this is where both fractions are missing the same quality of pieces. So 3/4 and 7/8 are both one slice of pizza away from being a whole pizza. So for 3/4, we have 3 pieces of pizza and we're missing 1 slice. For 7/8, we have 7 pieces of pizza and we're missing 1 slice, the same amount. But the piece of pizza missing from 3/4 is a bigger piece than what's missing from 7/8. And so since 3/4 is missing more, that means 7/8 has more pizza. And if all of those methods fail, then you can always just find a common denominator. And you do that by figuring out what bottom number you can make them have in common and changing one of your fractions or both of your fractions so that you end up with the same bottom number. So here I multiplied by 2/2 and I got 4/8, and then I compared 4/8 with my original 3/8.